It's mid-November. We're here in Detroit, Michigan on the Detroit River. This has been a fall bucket list trip for me. Joining me today is Ali Shakoor, the walleye doctor. This guy, I'm telling you, he knows more about walleyes, whether it's what they're eating, where they're at, where they're swimming, than any other person that I've met before. I've looked forward to getting in the boat with Ali for a long time, and I tell you what, we're going to have a good time out there today.
Yeah, we are. We're facing post-cold frontal conditions. We've had high winds up to 30 knots the past couple of days and a couple of days moving forward. But we're going to go out here, try to put some walleye knowledge to the test and put some fish in the boat for you.
And bring you
the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite. Just looking for the next bite.
The Detroit River in the spring is one of the most popular walleye bites in the country. It gives you an amazing opportunity for giant walleyes, and a lot of them. But it is frequently overlooked in the fall when walleyes are moving to current areas with more food to fatten up for the winter. The combination of Lake Erie to the south and Lake St. Clair to the north make it the perfect place for a ton of fish to converge as the water cools.
Nice fish. Yeah, nice fish. Good fish, Ali. That one absolutely crushed it, Ali. Nice fish.
Very nice fish.
That's a stud right there, man. Look at that thing.
Good fish.
That was a cool bite there. That one just spanked it.
I felt it when you set the hook in the back of the boat.
Yeah, yeah, it rocked it, man.
Good fish.
You know, speaking of rocking, it's rocking and rolling out
really
here
is.
right now.
We're starting to kick up again. So we're out here on the Detroit River. We're in the upper right now. You know, a lot of people, when you think about the Detroit River, they think about the spring walleye run, the spawning run. Everyone loves the fish, and they wonder when it occurs. And you know, and a lot of people think that after that run is over, that the good walleye fishing on the river is over, and that's just not the case. There's a great bite in the summertime. I don't leave. I'll vertical jig, pull bottom bouncers, and of course pull wire out here on the river. But you know, as we get into fall, what happens is, you know, everyone has heard about the migration, how these fish kind of travel across Lake Erie and Lake St. Clair up to Saginaw Bay to get to their summertime haunts and then come back to the river to spawn. Traditionally, a lot of people have thought that those fish will stop and hang up around the mouth of the rivers, the mouth of the Detroit River, the mouth of the Saginaw River, and overwinter there. But you know what happens is, a lot of these fish actually will come back into the river to overwinter before they make their final run to their spawning ground. So we're in the upper, but you got a push of fish that have come in from Lake St. Clair. I know there's a great bite right now in the lower river on the Canadian side. Those fish have pushed out of Erie. So those fish will come in, they'll hang out in deeper waters off the shipping channel, you know, in that 30 to 40 foot of water. It's a great bite in the fall time. So when you think about the Detroit River, just don't limit yourself to the springtime. There's good fishing to be had year round, especially in the fall. We're catching lots of limits, lots of good fish. So that's my tip for coming up and fishing the Detroit River any time of the year.
He's not a monster, but he's a decent fish.
He's way bigger than what he really is, for sure.
Oh yeah. Check that out.
All right, time to switch.
Yeah, that's the
last one you're gonna catch without me having that bait on.
I would say that the blue shiner is starting to rise to the top there a little bit. What a natural color selection for clear Great Lakes water like this, you know.
Yep, yeah, the fish are proving that point.
Heck yeah. Look at that thing. That's a nice walleye sandwich right there.
Good. 2-3-year-old fish. Yep, yeah. Beautiful fish. Fat. Put on a little weight.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Schaefer's Specialized Lubricant. Putting equipment first. Nitro Boats. Performance Fishing Boats. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Your fish, our science, and Power Pole, total boat control. Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by Precision Trolling Data, the authority for crankbait diving depth information. Fishing in the fall can be incredible, but it often comes with adversity when it comes to the weather.
Well, light hit, just very spongy, not really aggressive. You know, they've been kind of smacking it lately, but with these, I don't know, this front has come through and water temperatures are dropping. It might be a little bit sluggish, but...
Making changes to equipment and cadence make fishing in the wind and cold possible.
Over the years, you've heard me talk a lot about vertical jigging setups. Today on the river, there was 2 setups that I was using, and as you can tell, we're kind of getting late into the year. We had a lot of wind here today, and one thing that is real important that I think is to have a combination of jigging rods ready to go, especially if you're going to fish in these harsher conditions like this. What I'll do in a situation like we had here, where the winds start to build up and you're fighting the wind and the waves, is I'll drop down in size to a 6'2" vertical jigging rod, versus normally I like to use something between 6'9" and 7 foot, just so you've got more travel and more ability to lift that rod up and down as the bottom contour is changing. But in this situation where you've got all that wind resistance and those colder temperatures, a little bit shorter rod helps you have a lot better control, and you don't get fatigued fighting that wind. So for late season, harsh conditions, I like to drop down to that 6'2".
How do you think it was a fish? Golly.
I didn't even put my jigs in the water yet, Ali. That's not fair.
Well,
Shit, I can get this net out of here.
yeah. I can't see him yet.
Yeah.
Wow, the way he's running, he might be hooked a little funky. There he is.
Is it a good one?
Yep.
All these clothes on, I can hardly.
Come on.
Guess I should have stayed on the gas a little longer, huh?
Yeah. You can't get up from underneath there. There he is. Oh, yeah.
There we
Good
go.
fish.
Nice fish.
Oh, man. Beautiful fish.
Nice fish. Look at the shoulders on that
Nice
one, man.
fish.
Holy cats.
Wow.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
I'll tell you what, these conditions that we're battling right now, it's getting insane out here, isn't it?
It is getting pretty rough. We got a hard, soft blow.
Yeah.
She's starting to really rock and roll.
Yeah.
Boat control's tough, but you're doing a great job on the trolling motor. It's a great fish, man.
Look at the belly on that
Good
thing.
belly. She's getting ready for the winter time, doing a lot of eating, nice and fat.
I didn't even put my jigs in yet.
Yeah.
I was just unhooking my jig, and you hooked that one right away.
Yeah, as soon as I tapped bottom, she jumped all over it, man. She really wanted that. She had it had it good. Very, very aggressive hit right there.
Nice fish.
Great
All right,
fish.
let's get her back.
All right, let's go.
Good job.
Thanks. There we go. Play it, girl. All right. Great fish. Let's get back after it.
Total Control, presented by Power Pole. 20 years of trust evolved from Total Boat Control.
To me, one of the biggest benefits you're going to notice right away having a power pole is the use at the boat ramp, and just how much easier it makes things, especially when you're by yourself. And so a couple things when I pull up to the boat ramp I think about is, first off, how busy is it? Do I need to stay out of someone else's way? But probably the most important thing is which way the wind is blowing. Today it's not as big a deal, but I always want to be on the offshore side, the way the wind is blowing away from. So it just naturally allows my boat to pull away from the dock, not having to worry about it bounce into the dock or not. But a lot of times I actually keep my boat out off the end of the dock a little bit, where this cleat here is probably going to be towards the end. And so when I come up to a boat dock, like I said, I like to stay out a lot of times just because it just allows me the option to back my trailer right underneath where I have my boat parked, taking up less space and getting in less people's way a lot of times. So as I roll up to the end of the dock here, I can simply hit my boat in reverse at the end of this cleat, double tap my power pole down button, grab the cleat, shut my boat off, and just simply by, not even getting out of my chair, I can tie my boat up very easy you know, using minimal space at the boat ramp as well, and allowing me to back my trailer up underneath my boat. And so this is just one of those features to a power pole that I think is often overlooked because it just makes so much sense, and not only just using it for fishing. And so it's just another advantage to having a power pole on your boat that makes life a lot easier.
The Erie-Huron corridor is one of the most unique fisheries in the country. It's one of the only places where you see people consistently put big walleyes in their live well to eat. Unlike many places, this fishery is capable of sustaining that kind of pressure.
Well, since we're fishing on the Detroit River, I wanted to talk about something that comes up a lot. You see it a lot in the springtime. You know, a lot of folks will come to the Detroit River and Lake Erie because it's known as a fish factory. Lots of really large fish. Sometimes fishermen will keep these 10, 11, 12-pound fish, put them in a live well. You know, and folks will kind of give them a hard time about it. So I wanted to talk about that for a minute. You know, here, this is Lake Erie, Detroit River, Lake St. Clair, that Erie-Huron corridor kind of specific. But here, we're not limited by eggs. So in other words, if all those large females come out of the system, there's still enough spawn and stock in the system to support a good fishery. There are other things that are going to control how well, how big of a spawn there is or a hatch. Weather conditions, water levels, wind direction plays a big factor. Myself, I try not to keep fish over 22 inches. That's a personal decision. It's not really based in any kind of science. But keeping those big fish here, it does not affect the fishery. It's been shown scientifically. We've had these massive hatches the past couple of years. We're talking about the last 3 out of the last 5 years or so, some of the largest walleye hatches on record here. So, when you come here and you catch those big fish, it's going to be okay to keep a few. Now, one consideration you may want to think about is we know that these fish are migrating from other areas and they're coming here to spawn, so you could be catching and keeping some fish that are coming from other areas where the population may not be quite as strong, or the genetic contribution may not be as large. So, keep that in mind. Think about where those fish could possibly be coming from. Think about how we're not egg limited. Think about your own conscious when you keep these fish, and make your own call when you're catching these fish. Don't be pressured by the other folks around you. This is a fantastic resource. Come on down, take advantage. Fish?
Yeah.
All right, get the net. Oh, looks like another decent fish.
Oh yeah. Holy cats, man. There we go.
All right. Oh yeah.
This wind is really getting to be something,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Holy cats.
Beautiful fish.
Yeah, that's a nice fish. Yeah, about a 17-incher or so.
17-incher, yep. Good fish, man. This is a typical fish. A little bit small than we normally have been catching, but just talk about growth rates for a little bit. Normally here, we have incredibly fast growth rates. We're talking like 2 years, give or take, to about 15 inches. So this fish is, maybe a 3-year-old fish, probably getting towards sexual maturity. Just a great fish. There's millions of these fish in the system right now, so man, beautiful fish though.
I mean, that's amazing that these fish grow this fast in this system.
Yeah, it's a
is.
real fish factory. You normally see growth rates that fast, and down south in reservoirs where, have a longer growing season and everything. So just incredible fishery and great looking fish.
Little flat-nosed minnow action there, huh?
Oh yeah, switch it up on me.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go digging again.
All right, let's get this one back, huh? All right.
All right.
Color makes a huge difference, especially in a situation like this where we've got clear water coming down in the river. Profiles make a huge difference also as the water temperatures drop. We caught fish on a variety of different baits here today. Anywhere from the bonefish to the flat-nosed minnow, but there was 2 baits that really rose to the top, and that was a couple new additions that Berkeley has given us in that 4-inch gulp minnow. That's the pyrite shiner and the blue shiner. Now, it really was no surprise that this blue shiner rose to the top out here. I mean, in the Great Lakes, there is no better color than blue and silver in my opinion. So it's always a color that I'm going to start with. But out here, they definitely showed a preference. And like I say, this is, for a river, this is pretty clear water. So that was not really a surprise. But I was excited when we got the addition of these 2 colors to play with, especially in this situation. And they did not disappoint.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Schaefer's Specialized Lubricant. Putting equipment first. Nitro Boats. Performance Fishing Boats. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. Lowrance. The ultimate fishing system. And Power Pole. Total boat control. Hot topics, leading information and tackling techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
So there's so many different advances in sonar technology, whether it's active target or side scan, down scan. A lot of different tools allow you to find as many fish as possible, but I'm going to go back old school a little bit. I'm going to talk about 2D sonar and specifically high-speed graphing. And that's a situation that I'm going to want to use a ton of when I'm looking for suspended walleyes. Maybe I'm out on Lake Erie, maybe I'm on Green Bay, but looking for those suspended pods of roaming walleyes. And obviously you can troll around out there with crankbaits, spinners, and try to run into pods, but if I'm able to use my Lowrance and cruise around at 25 to 30 miles an hour and mark those pods, drop waypoints on them, come back and make sure I'm in the right spot, that's going to save me a lot of time. So a couple things that I want to talk about when you're going to do high-speed graphing is the first thing I recommend is whatever graph you have, go full screen, just 2D sonar. You're able to see the picture easier, you're able to see those marks pop out. Next thing, what you're going to want to do is have an external skimmer transducer on your transom. Not that a glassed inducer doesn't work extremely well, but at high speeds, we've absolutely found that the skimmers are going to show you a better picture. So very, very simple thing to do there. But I'm basically going to be cruising around and looking for specific, just real vertical blips that are orange or yellow, colored blips in the water column. And walleyes are schooling fish, so there's going to be a bunch of them together. But don't be afraid to use high speed to find the pods of fish where you can make sure that you're running your baits right through them. But Lowrance, by using that external skim reducer and a full screen on your unit, you're able to see everything you want, even at those high speeds.
When you think about the Detroit River, don't just limit yourself to the spring bite. If you have the opportunity in the fall, it can be a great time of the year to fill the freezer. Just be ready to make minor changes to your setup to make things easier when dealing with adverse weather conditions.
Here he comes, Ali. That was up high again.
Was it?
Yep. This one, I think.
All right.
Here he comes, Ali. Nice.
All right.
That was another one real high up in the stroke, like all the way at the top. I mean, you saw me before, that one hit, it was so high, it literally ripped the rod out of my hands. Yeah. But same thing, all the way up. I don't know if it's got something to do with the seam right here, but the fish definitely seem like they've come up off the bottom, you know. But
I'd imagine with the seam here, with this wind is really rolling, kind of stirring it up. Maybe get a little bit more active and coming up higher in the water column.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So,
all right, when you're fishing early and late in the season, much like we are today, you're undoubtedly going to run into high wind situations. And one of the things that may cause is for dirt to be stirred up. So here on the Detroit River, we had a high wind. Lake St. Clair gets stirred up. You know, one of the advantages here, sometimes we can go to the Canadian side to get in cleaner water, or stay on the U.S. side to get in cleaner water. But there's also a second option, and that's to stay and fish. So I wanted to talk about the difference between dirty versus dirtying, or water that's in the process of becoming dirty. So dirty water is going to be dirty from top to bottom, kind of hard to fish. You're kind of relegated to doing some other techniques like hand lining or pole lining. But dirtying water, so that dirt's going to start coming down in the surface first. And if you're in deeper water specifically, this is a point for you. Those fish will actually descend into the water, down the water column, down the break. If you have rocks or a shelf or a break, those fish will actually go down in the water column and hold on that structure, hold on those shelves until that dirt comes down lower in the water column. Then as it descends past that, they'll go right down to the next break. So instead of leaving that spot you're on, if there's fish there, you can actually just kind of slide out that break and follow those fish down the break as that water becomes dirty. Great tip for springtime or late in the season fishing on any big river system. Fish?
Oh yeah, pretty nice fish.
All right.
Feels pretty decent.
Looks decent. Staying down.
Yep.
Come on. Come on.
There he is. Nice.
Good looking fish.
Heck yeah.
Great looking fish.
I'll tell you what. this weather has been
A challenge.
as much of a challenge as you could have for a deal like this, but the fishing's been pretty darn good. And man, I've had a blast in, sharing the boat here with you. I mean, you gotta love these jig fish in the fall. Look at that guy.
Beautiful fish.
Yeah, this has been a pleasure to fish with you,
Yes,
and hopefully we can make a tradition out of it.
For sure, I'd love to.
All right, let's get this one back.
All righty.
Sorry. You were going good.
Okay. I know, you blew it.
I want to.
Tommy put you up today. He's trying to keep my jig out of the water.
Am I in this? Am I right here or am I in there?
Yeah, you're actually in there.
All this acts like I'm fishing.
That'd actually be cool. Watch them stick a pig in the background. Pressured by the other folks around you. This is a fantastic resource. Come on down, take advantage.
Boom! Yeah. Are you kidding me? Did you see how?
Oh no! Oh no! I saw that. Oh man!
That was unbelievable. I haven't had a fish in a jig that hard in my life.
Wow!
I mean, that was just a train wreck. It was all the way at the top of my stroke, and thunk, and it literally, the rod came right out of my hands. You gotta be kidding me. Oh man. Gotta love fishing with gloves on, right boys?